VELOTRIC Discover 1 versus VELOTRIC NOMAD 1. So I had the opportunity to review both of these bikes and I'm going to break down the differences for you. So for starters, if you're deciding between these two bikes, the price should not be a determining factor. However, there are a couple things that are going to be very important for you making up your mind between these two bikes, and we'll get to that in this video. So the NOMAD 1 is about $1,400 and the Discover 1 is about $1,200. And I do have a discount code that you can get an extra discount on either of these bikes down below this video in the description box. So if this video does help you make up your mind between the two, I would appreciate if you use my discount code below because it'll help save you money as well as help support this channel. So pretty much one of these bikes is a fat tire electric bike and it weighs 73 pounds. Whereas the other one is kind of more of a medium width tire and it weighs 65 pounds. So probably the single biggest determining factor on whether you want the NOMAD or the VELOTRIC is, do you want a nimble, easy to maneuver bike, or do you want a less nimble, more powerful bike? So if you don't have the chance to see either of these bikes in person, the NOMAD 1 is kind of like a beast of a bike. With those massive tires and the extra weight, this bike is a little bit more difficult to maneuver, whereas the Discover 1 is a much easier beast to tame. So if you're a smaller person and you're concerned about being able to handle a heavier bike, I would say definitely go with the Discover 1. Now there is more to the story. The NOMAD 1 has a much more powerful motor. So the NOMAD 1 has a continuous output motor of 750 watts with a peak of 1200, whereas the Discover 1 has only a 500 watt continuous output motor and peak of 900 watts. And when you get on either of these bikes, the difference in the motor is pretty significant and is very noticeable. You can tell this from my acceleration test. I'll show you both the acceleration tests of each of these bikes side by side. Acceleration test from 0 to max speed. We're on pedal assist 5. I'm just going to use the thumb throttle. So the NOMAD is on the left, the Discover is on the right. And what we see is the NOMAD 1 has a much stronger acceleration from about 0 to 15. And then after about 15 miles per hour, the NOMAD 1 eases up on the power it gives you. And cruising from about 15 to 20 miles per hour, both the NOMAD 1 and the Discover 1 feel about the same. So there's a huge difference from 0 to 15, and then like 15 to 20, they kind of feel roughly the same. Looking at the specs, the torque difference is only listed actually as a 10 Newton meters torque difference, where the NOMAD 1 gets 75 Newton meters of torque, Discover 1 gets 65 Newton meters of torque. That is listed on paper. When you get on these bikes, the NOMAD 1 just feels way more powerful. The NOMAD 1 is a much better hill climber than the Discover 1. This will be the steep hill test for the VELOTRIC Discover 1. So 500 watt motor, 900 peak, 65 Newton meters of torque. This bike does need a little bit of help to get up the super steep hill here. Keep in mind, this is a very, very steep hill. It can do it with a little bit of help from pedaling. All right, going to do the hill test on the VELOTRIC NOMAD 1. We're gonna do thumb throttle only, pedal assist 5. Let's see how the 75 Newton meters of torque can hold up going up this super steep hill. Not pedaling at all, this bike can handle it with ease. So super powerful hub drive motor with 750 watts continuous power output and 1200 watts peak. So if you're looking for a more gentle, easygoing cruising bike, the Discover 1 is going to be the ticket for you. The NOMAD 1 has a lot more torque and tends to jerk you around a little bit more and much more abrupt power surges and a much better hill climber. The difference between the 0 to 20 mile per hour under throttle only for me at 195 pounds on these bikes was only about a 1 second difference. The biggest difference in that acceleration time was actually in the first 10 miles per hour. The NOMAD 1 only takes 3.5 seconds to 10 miles per hour, and the Discover 1 is 4.5 miles per hour. So both of these bikes come with the exact same battery that has 692 watt hours of energy. They're both 48 volt systems and 14.4 amp hour batteries. So which bike are you gonna get more range? Well, the answer is obvious. The Discover 1, you're gonna get much more range because it weighs less and also the motor is less powerful. So when you have a more powerful motor, basically that's just pulling more energy from the battery faster. And also, if you have more weight, it's going to take more energy to get that weight from a stop up to a start. So if you're looking for range and you're trying to decide between these two bikes, the Discover One is the clear choice. Now it could get a little complicated if there's hills in your area because the Nomad One is a more powerful hill climber. Both of these bikes have hydraulic disc brakes, and I thought that they were great on each bike.
Should come to a stop very quickly. Max speed. Yeah.
The Nomad One does have one extra gear. You get 8 gears on the Nomad One versus 7 on the Discover. They both have front suspension, which is basically identical. And also on the Discover One, you get a brake light, whereas on the Nomad One, in the model I tested, it was just a light. So both bikes do have a throttle assist up to 20 miles per hour, and that is the top speed of each bike. You may be able to log into the settings and change that somehow. I didn't see how to do that. So relative to what else is out there, I actually think the VELOTRIC bikes are a great value, and they're both offered in step-through frames as well as step-over frames. They both have several different color options, and I think that the color options I saw these bikes in are actually very beautiful bikes. All of the wires and the aesthetic of these bikes is very tidy and good looking. So as I mentioned, I do have full reviews on each of these bikes as well as a discount link below this video. So if this video has helped you make up your mind between these two bikes, or you'd like to learn more information, check out those links below the video. It'll help save you money if you buy through my link, as well as help support this channel. So check out the links below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in my next review.